Hello everybody, my name is Christian Charlo. Welcome to your market report. Today we're Wednesday, November 26, 2014. Today folks, the topic of the Chronicle is going to be about how to day trade. I'm going to show you some tips you can use because every day on marketgurus.tv that you can have access for free for 10 days. We publish a list of the best day trading opportunities that we update constantly. So I'm going to show you some indicators that we use to actually determine if intraday wise a stock represents a good entry point. So let's start. First of stock I want to show you is eHouse China Holding, EG on New York. Intraday wise, what were the entry point on a stock like that? Here it's what's called a stochastic. The stochastic allows us to determine that is an oversold situation, which means that there's too many sellers there. When we're leaving that oversold situation, that means there's starting to be some buyers who are coming in, and this is a clear overbought situation. So usually what we use on marketgurus.tv to determine if a stock is an entry point is to see when is the stock leaving its oversold situation. For instance, on eHouse China Holding, what would have been the entry point for day trading? Well, first of all, on the reversal of this downward trend here, you see what happened with the stochastics. We were just starting to leave the oversold situation. So the fact that we reversed this downward trend here on EG China Holding, eHouse China Holding, the fact that the stochastics was heading towards the overbought situation, that was a clear entry point on eHouse China Holding. Since what happened, well, the stochastic stays within this clear overbought situation. So it's not always an indicator that works all the time. So you have to use something else instead of only the stochastics. So the thing that you could have used instead of using the stochastics, because it was clearly stayed within this overbought situation, was the volumes. So for instance, on a stock like eHouse China Holding, what could have been another entry point on a stock like that? Well, look at here. We had a clear sideways formation because every time we tested that top, we went back down, and every time we tested that low, we went back up. So it's a clear sideways formation. And what happened when we broke out, we got out of this sideways formation? Well, we saw that volume started to increase. So that is a clear signal that whenever we are breaking an intraday sideways formation and volumes are increasing, it's a sign that the bullish momentum is on the company's side. So eHouse China Holding had two great entry points for day trading today. And if you want to take a look with more data on a stock like that, by looking at this, we see that we have reached right now the 100-day moving average at 10.07. So that might be a point where we might actually have a pause on eHouse China Holding. Renren, if we take a look at this company, what could have been the entry point on a stock like that? Well, you had here a clear break of that resistance, but what did the stochastic show us? Totally overbought. So it was not a great entry point there by looking at the stochastics. However, here we had a sideways formation. We got out, we broke out that sideways formation, and what happened with the stochastics? You see here, we actually clearly reversed that downward trend of the stochastics. We're just leaving this oversold situation, heading towards the overbought situation, and we were breaking intraday sideways formation. So that was a clear entry point on Renren. One thing you could also have looked at to determine that can this breakout continue intraday wise is to look at more data on a stock like that. So we saw that Renren had some potential to reach its 10-day moving average around 290. The MACD histogram was showing us there's some bullish momentum because we actually are heading more, having a histogram that is tilting more towards positive territory. So those were all signals that you could have used to determine was Renren a good entry point for day trading, and could it have continued its bullish momentum intraday wise. Vigil Inc. Corp. That stock was our day trade of the day today, and that stock, let me show you how you could have gotten into the stock like that. To get in at opening though was tough, except that if you saw it, if you had the data from yesterday, you saw that look the stochastics was making a higher bottom, so that was confirming a clear bullish momentum on a stock like that. Okay, some of you might have been lucky by that stock here, but those of you who bought that stock here, you should have got out if the stock got out of this upward corridor. So around this area was a point to get out of VGGL on NASDAQ. However, what could have been the greatest entry point in a stock like that, well, what is the greatest entry point in a stock like that is whenever the stock actually has reversed its downward trend. So this was a downward trend. The stock reversed it at 399. What happened with the stochastics? We had a clear reversal of this downward trend on the stochastics. So we were just leaving the oversold situation, heading towards the overbought situation. Volumes also were increasing. So you have all the indicators in your favor to determine that this stock was a great entry point. Also here, when the stock made a side formation and broke out. 353, it did break out. Stochastics was reversing its downward trend. That was leaving its oversold situation, heading towards the overbought situation. Volumes were increasing as well. So that was a clear entry point at 353. However, there was a top at 365. So that was your target. 353 to 365. Right now, we're stabilizing on a stock like that. Also, BO delivery signs. Now looking at the stock here intraday wise, can the stochastics be a real indicator? Well, you see the stochastic stayed throughout this overbought situation, so it was tough to determine can that stock be really tradable because only by looking at the stochastics. However, you could have looked at other two things. First, the volumes. Look, we had several clear sideways formation, right? And when we broke out that sideways formation, what happened with the volumes? Volumes were increasing. Same thing here too as well, volumes were increasing. Same thing too here as well, volumes were increasing. So this could have been an indicator you could have used only by looking at the volume, and also by looking at the chart on a daily basis, you could have seen, look, we actually are rebounding on the 100-day moving average, which is in black. So this is a signal that we could actually continue this bullish momentum by looking at how the stock is performing intraday wise by having this increase in volume that are gradual. So this isn't something that you could have used to determine that even if the stochastics was not really credible on a stock like that, the fact that it made clear sideways formation, broke out of it, had an increase in volume, and on the daily chart was rebounding on its 100-day moving average in black, this was a signal that this stock was a great opportunity to day trade. One last stock I want to show you is Magnachip Semiconductor. This stock, it was clear to day trade how you could have day trade that stock. First entry point came out when, well, look at this. Stochastics were just leaving the oversold situation here, right? But the stock was still within a sideways formation, so not a great entry point. However, when we got out of this sideways formation around this area, the stochastics actually made a higher bottom. That was confirming a clear bullish momentum because also volumes were increasing. So that was a great entry point. Another one came out here around 1182. Stochastics reversed its downward trend, was heading towards the overbought situation. Volumes were increasing, so that was also a clear entry point, right? The stock also gave an entry point here, but not by looking at the stochastics necessarily though, because the stochastic stays within its clear overbought situation, but just by looking at how the volumes are performing, those were all signals that those two breakouts here that happened were great entry point to get into a stock like that for day trading. So this is actually what you can use. You can use the volume, you can use the stochastics, you can also use on the daily chart to see, does the stock have some room to go before it reach one of its moving average. You saw, for instance, a stock like BO Delivery Science, which was rebounding on its 100-day moving average. You saw a stock like RenRen, which had some room to go before it reached its 10-day moving average. So those are all signals that you could use, stochastics, moving average, and volume intraday wise to determine how to get into a stock and how to day trade that stock. And it's important that if you're getting into a stock for day trading, whenever you make a 3, 4, 5, 6%, take some profit on your position, on a portion of your position, because that's what's key in day trading, to be able to make the trade at opening and take some profit at the end of the day. So that was Christian Charlo for MarketGurus.tv. See you next week for your market report.